Hello and welcome to another episode of the Just Talking About Films podcast, where we like to get together and just talk about films, various different aspects of films, and what we've watched, what we think about certain things, and what we're looking forward to. My name is Ian Sargentson.
And my name's Luke Taylor, and really looking forward to catching up with you and sharing all the films we've seen recently and a few takes that we've got on things that are coming up as well.
Brilliant. So, Luke, it's been a while since we recorded. So yes. We've had a couple of weeks. Last week I thought was really interesting. Stephen joined us and talked about his take on horror films and why it's important that people watch them, why it may be important that young people watch them. I thought it was a fascinating discussion and different insight.
We were just saying this. I'm not sure I agree with him still, but I appreciate the points he was making now.
Yeah, it certainly made me consider it more rather than just being so dismissive about the voice of that genre and what it has to say and what it has to speak into current cultures and situations and various different aspects of humanity.
Yeah, that was a very good discussion. I really enjoyed chatting with him, and good guy. But of course, you saw that last week. We recorded that one 2 weeks ago, so we've not actually recorded for 2 weeks now.
No, it's been a while. So my list of films that I've watched is quite.
You've watched every film ever in the meantime.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, as many of the viewers and listeners will know, that I've got a young child at home, and him and his mum go to bed at 9 o'clock or between 9 and 9:30, and then I get the evening to watch a film. So that's what I do to relax after they've gone up to bed and I go up to bed. So yeah, it's been. In some ways, I thought it would be like, all right, I might not get any films watched for a long while, because it's quite busy during the day. But there's that space there, and it's a great way to unwind on an evening.
Okay, so do you want to go first or second? Because you've got the bigger list.
No, you go first.
Okay, well, I haven't seen anywhere near as many as you, and even less for the first time. What I have been doing is I've been rewatching all the Batman films first of all.
Okay.
All the live action Batman films.
Yeah, best
I call him Batman there, like it's his surname. Just the live action, because once you start getting into the cartoon films, there's way too many. And so just trying to assess ready for the new one coming out, because what I'd like to do is start an order. Maybe it's something we can do when the new one comes out, is to list our rating of every Batman film that there is.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, they definitely vary in quality. I won't go into any details on any of them now, but wow, there's some real stinkers in there.
No, yeah, we should do that. So when the new one comes out, when we booked in to see it, the following week, we should discuss it and then rank our Batmans in order. And then we can, we can create our lists on Letterboxd, and then we'll be able to go from there. Yeah,
I think if we both create a list, we can then assign and come up with a master list based on that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you enjoyed the process of going through them again?
I have, although I've got that weird point now, because the last two Batman films weren't really Batman films. They were Batman versus Superman, which I think counts because Batman's in the title, but now I can't decide whether I should watch Justice League again. And I kind of don't want to.
No. So you're really excited about the new Batman film, aren't you?
I am. I could be wrong. Could be absolutely wrong, but I just have a feeling it's going to be great. It's going to be one of the best Batman films ever made. It might. Could it top The Dark Knight? I don't know, but I've got a feeling it's going to come close.
Yeah, and we had this discussion before we started recording, and my only question about it is because Batman as a character I love, and there's so many things, but my only question is why. So it's, for me, as you say, that there's a benchmark that's been set so high with the Dark Knight trilogy that you're setting yourself up, not necessarily to fail, but you're setting yourself a high standard to beat, because it's going to be held against that.
It is, although that's a good reason why. If somebody's put a world record in place, what you're going to want to beat it.
Yeah, quite possibly. But if I was, a director or a production company now with a huge budget, I'd go for an easier win first, I think. Maybe trying to create a Superman film that is universally loved. And I know I'm going to get into that debate. I know the refilm, the originals were, but the recent offerings have all been lacking something. But I'd do that or do something else. But they've taken it on. The trailer looks good. It looks a bit moody. But for me, I've got a real affinity for the Dark Knight trilogy. So although I'm open-minded, there's still a bit of emotional, maybe cognitive bias there that I'm going, is it going to be?
Which is fair enough. It's fair enough. I mean, it is a hard task to beat the Dark Knight. Having said that, the Dark Knight Rises is easy to beat.
I don't agree. I love all three.
I like it, but it has its issues. And then you could set another stand up and say, well, there's Batman and Robin. It's not like you're going to make worse than that. And that's the thing. They're going to make more Batman films regardless because somebody's making money out of it. DC are going to want to make Batman films. So I'd rather somebody good was having a go than somebody not so good.
True enough. I mean, but again, and we've talked about this before, there's always going to be the discussion amongst the purists and the comic lovers about what it should be and what should be included and shouldn't be. So as someone who doesn't buy into that, who doesn't get that, who doesn't care a jot about what was in the comics, I loved the Dark Knight trilogy, as I've said. And I don't know how faithful they were or not, but I loved them. But then there's always, the fandom and the real fans of so many of these things that we do, whether it's Harry Potter, whether it's Marvel, whatever it is. So they've always got that to play into. So we'll see what they make of it.
And there's always a chance to bring a fresh. I mean, there's so many good Batman stories that have not been covered, and we've not really had the Riddler on screen good before.
No.
So there's a chance to get that right. So I'm hopeful. I'm excited for it. But we'll go on to the Batman thing like later properly. I mean, we'll dig into those films when the new one comes out.
Well, it certainly looks good. The trailer looks good. Everything I've seen, the artwork, the casting, the things I've heard. Yeah, I'm excited about it. If the Dark Knight trilogy I would be really excited.
Yeah, I love the idea of doing the Riddler as the Zodiac killer. As the model.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant. It must have been one of those aha moments, when they came up with that. But it's so clever. So yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be dark, and it looks moody, not just dark as in you can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
I already like the look of the new Batmobile as well.
Yeah, see, I don't care one way or the other. That's probably one of my least favorite things about the Dark Knight series. That stupid car, anyway.
Yes, this one looks like a car, which is
yeah.
So I won't touch on any of those. We'll do those later. So what else have I seen? I rewatched Last Night in Soho because that's come out on streaming now. Second time, enjoyed it even more. Such a good film.
So where is that streaming?
That's just like on buy to stream.
All right. So I just think what I was going to do is I'm going to start sharing where I watched it, just so that people listen, if they're interested in what we say, ever, that they can know where to access these things.
That's a good idea. That's good. See, that's available to buy anywhere, so you can, or rent, whichever you want to do.
Just before you go on, have you seen some of the? Like, I wanted to watch King Richard at the cinema, but I didn't get a chance. I was busy, so I saw it on Prime, I think, to rent. $14.99
to rent.
Yeah.
That's these because you get to see it first, kind of thing. It's still out at the cinema, but it's not really. It's a rip-off, isn't it?
£15.
No, there's just no way.
I understand, but
during the height of lockdown, I got it. Like we did that to see Wonder Woman, although I immediately regretted it after seeing the film. But I get it during lockdown, but nowhere. If you rent something that's come out to buy, it's £4. Well, that's like going to the video shop in the old. That's fine.
And that's what I think it should be. It should be like a £5 at the most to watch it in your own house.
Yeah.
£15. And I know that you go, right, well, you don't know how many people are watching it, blah, blah. But you can go to the cinema and watch it, probably twice in some cinemas for that.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Not
so
good.
Yes, I just wanted to bring that up. So you streamed Last Night in Soho. Did you like it as much the second time?
I did. Even more. I thought it's such a visually, the film is so well made. And you second time, because you know where things are going, you're spotting some of the camera trickery and the way things really, really good. I got to the end of it, I was thinking, If you were to take all of Edgar Wright's films and try and rate them, which maybe we'll try and do someday,
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. Which is his best one? Which is his worst? I couldn't tell you.
But you're a big fan, aren't you?
They're all on such a high level, and it is very good. It's quite a tense film. I wouldn't say it's a horror. It's like a ghost story kind of thing, but it's more of a psychological. But it's so it's interesting. The whole film, just the whole time gripped by it, and yeah, really good, really worth watching.
Still haven't got around to seeing it yet, but I'll have a look at that.
And the two people, it was Thomasin McKenzie and Anna Taylor-Joy, brilliant, both brilliant. And Matt Smith is just lecherous, awful character, but he plays it so well.
Yeah.
So very good film. And then we went to see Nightmare Alley.
Yeah.
Which was a right job to get to go. I mean, it was not on at good times anywhere. But we went to see that at the Cineworld. Finally found it was last Saturday, only time because the times at the weekend, which is the weekdays, were terrible. And it was a good film. It's very it's like a film noir kind of thing, and he's kind of a con man, and he keeps on getting like the cons getting bigger and bigger as he goes along, to the point where it's all going to go wrong for him. But how it goes wrong and the results of that. And it's one of those films, I was watching it and I was thinking, I have no idea how this is going to end. I know it's not going to end well for him, but I have absolutely no idea where. And it's nice watching a film not knowing how it's going to end, because sometimes you can guess easily.
Yeah.
And I clicked with this one about 2 minutes before it was revealed. Just in the last couple of minutes, I've got it. I know how this is going to end now. And it was a very satisfying conclusion.
Good.
Yeah, really good film. Bradley Cooper's very good in it. Well directed. The carnival just looks creepy, so creepy. But yeah, really good film. Very much enjoyed it. It's a guy he's learns how to be a what do they call it? A mesmerizer. Someone who in a carnival pretends to read people's minds, but it's all tricks. And he starts getting bigger with it and starts conning more people with it, and then gets involved with some people who it's not good to con.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so really good. And a pleasant surprise in that I'd seen the trailer for it, and the trailer gave nothing away. Like, you watch the trailer and you go, I have no idea what that film's about. So it was good the whole time, just trying to keep up with what was going on. Really enjoyed it.
Brilliant.
And then we watched Seven, because we have our movie club this weekend.
Yeah, I've got to watch that tomorrow.
I'll keep my thoughts to that until the weekend, but it is just a genius piece of filmmaking.
Well, I saw your rating on Letterboxd, so that was a very clear.
Yeah, I think it might. I mean, it's not a perfect film, but it's close.
Yeah, but it's different, as some of you will know, that I started this online film club where we get together and it's good to chat about films. We watch a film, we agree what film we're going to watch, and through the course of a month we watch it and come back and discuss it and rate it to see which is the best. And because of the diverse nature of the group, it's quite good and infuriating at the same time. So you'll get this great film that you really love and someone marks it low, because it's got this broad range of standards and criteria that people have. Yeah. So one guy in the group, Simon, I don't know if he'll ever listen to this, but he rated Whiplash as a 1 out of 10 because there was too much swearing. I was like, how can you do that? But that's his standards and criteria. So it'll be interesting to see what the whole group think of Seven. But
I mean, it is it's a disturbing film, isn't it?
Oh, of course it is, yeah.
But it's very good, very good. So really enjoyed that. And then, was it last night? No, 2 nights ago, we went to see the unlimited preview of Moonfall.
Okay.
Which is the film behind me right now.
Yeah.
And dear me, this film must prove the existence of aliens, because it was not written by anyone who's ever visited this planet before. I mean, the dialogue is it's like this person's never seen people have conversations ever in their life. I mean, it's just, people don't speak like that. People don't think like that. The leaps of logic that it takes. I mean, I'm all for suspending disbelief in a film, but you suspend it there, and then you got to suspend it there, and then you got to suspend it there. I said we were going out the cinema. I hope there's no cults outside because I'm so suspended in my disbelief. I'll believe anything right now. It was terrible. It was fun at times. It's good to see the destruction and all of the but at the same time, you spend most of the film just going, I can't believe that's the choice they made. I can't believe that's the it. It's too much, and you can't. No matter how good you are at directing action, you can't compensate for a really badly written script.
No.
And I feel sorry for the actors. They must have been told every day, don't worry, it'll come together in the edit. It'll make sense. And then it really doesn't.
But the picture behind you is good.
Oh, it's a good. I mean, that picture kind of sold me on going to see it. The moon crashing into Earth sounds fun. And you'd think it would be, but it kind of wasn't.
No.
So Moonfall, we saw that the other night, and yeah, I mean, Rolling Stone had an article saying they're not convinced it's a film. They think it's a practical joke.
It's quite damning, isn't
it? Yeah. So you'll have a good time, but you'll come out. It's nice to come out feeling more intelligent than the film, I suppose.
Yeah, there's a few of those.
That's it for me. That's all I've seen these past few weeks.
Well, good. So
apart from all the Batman films.
Yeah, and we'll talk about them in future. But if you've seen any films Luke has seen, or you want to see them, or you've got any comments about them, or you disagree with him on something, so you've seen Moonfall and it's really good.
Seven was on Prime for those who want to watch that.
What was on Prime?
7.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think I've got it on Blu-ray anyway. But so yeah, as I said, I've watched a few, so I won't spend too long on all of them. Maybe on a couple, but so the film I watched first after we recorded, was a film called Fruitvale Station, and it kept coming up on my you should watch this list on, I think it's Amazon Prime, but it's a film. It made me angry, it made me feel shame, it made me feel frustration, and so many things it made me feel. And it's a really well-made film. It's quite, I know I say this about a lot, but it's gritty. The whole feel of the film is gritty, but it's based on a true story. I don't want too many spoilers about a young man that has an encounter with the police, and it speaks a lot, but maybe it speaks a bit louder to me now because of the George Floyd situation and his death, that it was so prevalent in the media in recent years. But it's Michael B. Jordan in it, who plays an exceptional part. And it just really feels, and I know it's based on true story, but this isn't always the case. It feels real. And you just watch it, and it's just an experience. I think it's a really important film to watch. And it doesn't, one thing I liked is, although there's a clear victim, it doesn't try and paint a blue sky picture that everything's perfect. There's quite complexity to the characters. So yeah, I just found it really moving. So I've got my review on Letterboxd that I thought was an important film. I've never really heard of it before until it kept coming up. And I probably only watched it because it was Michael B. Jordan, and I rate him highly as an actor. So yeah, that was Fruitvale Station, and I scored that 4 out of 5 actually. And then I went on to watching it. Some of it is just like on a night when I watch a film and it recommends something off the back of it. So the next film I watched is 187, and I'd seen it. A lot of the films I've watched recently are films I've seen a long time ago and wanted to revisit. So 187 is Samuel L. Jackson, who's a teacher, and he gets attacked at school. So he moves across the country to teach elsewhere, and he encounters some intimidating characters in his classroom there, and it's looking at his response to them and what happens. It's quite a dark film. It starts well, loses its way a little bit, borders on the ridiculous at times. But it's another one with a message, because it was written by a teacher speaking into some of the things that teachers face, really. But it's an old film, I think. What is it, 1997? So,
Right. I've never heard of it, I think.
So 187, yeah, I think that was on Prime as well, possibly. And then I went to the cinema and watched Belfast. So I remember you'd seen it on the pre-screening or select screening, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a secret one, so we didn't know what it was till it
Oh,
started.
yeah, you didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to see it because, I've got a bit of a connection to Belfast or to Northern Ireland generally. I've got a lot of friends there. Kate grew up there, and various different things. And I just thought it looked good. Things I'd heard about, the interviews I'd seen, I just thought this looks good. And I absolutely loved it. One thing that I really liked about it is that we know the history of Northern Ireland, a lot of it, about the Troubles, but didn't focus on that. The backdrop was there, and you couldn't get away from it, and you can't get away from it. But it didn't just look at it and go, this is all there is to this city, these people. It looked through that, through the eyes of a 9-year-old boy who saw this, and the family life, the people that lived there, the way it wasn't just, the Protestants hate the Catholics right from the beginning, that they lived side by side. And it looked into that and the family life and the friendships and all of the things that were lost rather than just groups of people, petrol bombs and fighting. So that was there, and it was a formation of barricades. I thought the young lad, I think Jude Hill is his name, I thought he was just outstanding.
Very good. Yeah.
I thought they were all good. The acting was superb, apart from Judi Dench's accent.
Yeah, and there's a line she delivers right at the end, and it just felt so on the nose, that one bit she does, like it was recorded entirely separate to her. But she's her accent's not great, is it?
No, I thought it looked great. The direction was good. The shots, the monochrome feel, and apart from a couple of scenes where it's colour, ironically, when they went in the cinema, I thought that was just really good.
It comes alive, doesn't it?
The soundtrack was great, Van Morrison, and I just loved it. It's the best film I think I've seen in a long, long while. One that I just enjoyed because I was looking forward to it, but I didn't know why. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't say, I'm looking forward to watching it. I didn't even know what it was about. It was about the people of Belfast, and what we've heard the story told 100 times, but it was told differently and said through the young boy's eyes. I just thought it was just really, really good.
It captured what it must have been like to live there.
Yeah,
really did. Yeah,
but also captured the fact that there are good people there, good from, and then the comedy value of it, where there's one scene where he's discussing with his cousin or his friend about how you know if someone's a Catholic or not. And she was saying, it's because of their name. And he was like, and then even the Christian bit in with the preacher, where he obsesses on what the preacher said about these two roles.
Yes, that preacher does not get portrayed very well, does he?
No, but I don't think it would have been totally without foundation either.
No.
We've all been in sermons like that. And then on the same day I watched, and it probably wasn't connected. I've been meaning to watch it for a long time, but I just did. I rewatched The Commitments, which is a film again I love from my younger days.
Brilliant.
And I rewatched it. So it was a proper day in Ireland on that day, in the north and then the south. And it's just a really good film.
It is. It's so rewatchable. The music helps, but it's the characters. Love the characters and the interplay between them and all of it. Great film. And
I like that, and I like the fact that this came out in 91, so if this is a spoiler, I'm sorry. I watched this on DVD actually, but the fact is that it's an almost story to what could have been story. So it's not like all feel good. It's about these group of people that have a dream and pursue it in the middle of Dublin to form a soul band. Yeah, I just love it. It's really good.
I like that it's an almost story. It's more relatable in that sense, because that is the way most bands end.
Yeah. And the near miss at the end that you think.
Yeah. Oh, great film. Love it.
Yeah. Then I wanted to watch, because as we talked about before, I've discussed many times, I'm not hugely into the Marvel universe is so much. Like I haven't watched any of the TV shows, don't really care for them. A lot of them are much of a muchness. But I watch them all because occasionally there's some really good ones. So I thought I'll start watching these in chronological order, even though some people argue that you shouldn't. So I watched Captain America: The First Avenger. It was okay. It wasn't as good as I remembered. I think it started well, had a great premise, and then just fell away into nonsense with Hydra and different things like that.
Yeah,
but I didn't hate it.
It's good fun. It's one of the lighter, as in least weighty, I guess, of the Marvel films. But it's decent fun.
And that was on Disney Plus. I watched that, and then we watched another round, which I think we watched on Sky Cinema.
Yes, I've downloaded it to watch on Sky Cinema.
So it was a film, if you don't know, it's about a group of teachers in Denmark that stumble across this theory that humans are born with, I think it's 0.5% less blood alcohol than they should have to function in an optimum way. So they test this theory by increasing their blood alcohol by 0.5% to see if they are socially and professionally more productive. So it's interesting. It sounds like how far can they stretch this, but it really is more about the friendship between them, about their lives, about how they support each other, about the sense of adventure, speaks into about growing old a bit, getting older in midlife for men, but all the while having the backdrop to this experiment of alcohol. So I really enjoyed it, and Kate watched it with me, and she really enjoyed it. It was, Mads Mikkelsen, so he plays a good part. It's just really good.
Good. I'm looking forward to that. It's on my to-do list.
Then we watched Encanto.
Is that right?
I mean, I've heard a lot of hype about it, and I guess if you're into Disney films, then you'll like it. For me, it's the same story, similar story to 100 others, just told in a slightly different way.
It's pleasant enough, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't find it overly profound or anything like some people seem to, but it was harmless enough. It didn't irritate me or anything.
No, I enjoyed it. It was one of those, it's not entirely memorable. It doesn't make much sense if you give it too much thought, but it's fun. Some good songs as well.
Yeah, that was on Disney again, I think. Then went into The Fugitive, the old Harrison Ford film.
Oh, I need to know. I've got to know what you think about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it. I used to love it, that and US Marshals.
Yeah.
So there's a lot about The Fugitive. I said, I don't think it's dated that badly because
it just doesn't seem as good as I remember it.
No, it's similar to Enemy of the State in storyline, but it's I didn't just like there's a bit where I go, well, how did that happen? That wouldn't happen. It's a bit far-fetched, but it's enjoyable as a thriller. He's very good. Harrison Ford, I think Tommy Lee Jones is excellent. So I think it passes the time well. I don't think I enjoyed it as much now as I did then, but I've changed and time's moved on.
Yeah, I think the cinema's changed a bit as well. It seems a bit basic now when you watch it back.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's fine.
But just the escape scene at the beginning was just a bit easy. And then the whole thing with the train, I'm like... And then I watched... it's Papillon.
Oh yes,
the prison film.
Yeah,
it was all right. Didn't mind it at all. Thought it was okay. I'd seen a lot of it before because it slowed a lot in the middle. And again, I think that might have been Netflix. That's 2017. It's what's he called? The guy from Sons of Anarchy. Anyway, it's him.
Yeah.
He's from Newcastle, isn't he? But he speaks with that weird accent. And then it's him and Freddie Mercury.
Rami Malek.
Yeah, it's them two. So they play good part. I said slows a bit in the middle, but it's based on a true story. So I guess that was the story.
Yeah.
They just keep going through things. At times, it felt like I was in prison with them. It went on that long. But yeah, based on a true story, fascinating story. So yeah, that was decent enough to watch. Then I watched another one going back, a bit similar to The Fugitive and similar to 187 that I'd watched a long time ago from 1997, The Game. Michael Douglas.
Good film.
It was one that I loved back then. And I think this this held up better, I think.
Hmm.
I still just really like it. You know, the direction is what you'd expect. There's a lot of use of shadows, quite dark. But yeah, it's just really good. It's a good classic thriller where by the very nature of the story, you don't know what is true and what's not.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of times it turned me on so many twists and turns, and even though I've seen it before, I couldn't remember how it ended. I was like, oh yeah. So really enjoyed that. Watched that on DVD. I've had that on DVD for years, and I probably haven't watched it for 20 years. So.
Yeah, good film. Really good film. It's it twists and turns more than maybe you'd ever expect a film to.
Or it needed to, but
but and if you think about it too much, you kind of like, is that really possible? Does that really hold? But you don't mind.
No,
it's a good film.
And then on what day are we on now? So yeah, this week I watched The Last Duel based on your recommendation. You talked about it. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was such a well-made film. Again, some of the things, how can, when you know what the subject matter is, how can you look forward to it? How can you enjoy it? I think it was a very important take on it. The fact that it gave 3 points of view, that 3 voices to the same incident, and it spoke into that very real situation in life today, but also spoke into it from a different culture. So I thought the acting was excellent. So Jodie Comer was superb. What's he called?
Adam Driver's very good.
Adam Driver was very good, and
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, superb. The 3 of them. Then the 3 main characters, the 3 voices you hear, they were excellent. Was a bit disturbed by Ben Affleck. His beard irritated me somewhat. But the film, I just thought it was superbly made, looked good. It was interesting because when you told me it was the same story 3 times, I'm like, but it wasn't really. It was 3 perspectives on the story, but it wasn't just watching the same thing over and over again.
You see different bits, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's very cleverly done. It doesn't feel repetitive at all.
No. And it was good. And I wasn't ready for how emotionally invested I would get into it. And it's not that black and white that it's all, obviously this is the right thing. This is the person you should side with. You're still unsure all the way through until the end or the final chapter, what the actual situation is and who you should be siding with and who you should be angry at and and I guess that's the one of the points it's trying to make. So yeah, I just thought it was really, really good, really well made. And then the bit beyond the stories was great as well as a spectacle.
The duel itself.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a good duel.
Yeah.
And the way the whole proceedings go in the court case, as it were, and the way the king reacts to everything is just so irresponsible.
Well, it's a true story, isn't it?
I know, it's crazy.
It's a true story, and especially when you listen to some of the reasoning and the scientific advice that they have and the way they do justice and the role of women in that. And I guess that's one of the main points that the film is making. It's just like bizarre how we used to live. And I wonder if in the future, how we will look back at now.
Yeah.
Where we make decisions.
It seems almost impossible people would think like that, but they did. Yeah. Strange.
And then the final film I've watched is Fallen. So again, another one from '98. Good cast, Denzel Washington doing Denzel Washington things. But Donald Sutherland's in it. Dan. He was in Roseanne.
Oh, what's he called? Why have I forgotten his name?
Anyway,
we love his name.
We love films. I forget all the actors' names. Forgot Matt Damon's name a minute ago. So yeah, it was a good film. It's a different twist on a thriller. It's got a spiritual element to it, and that makes it interesting. That makes it not just you've got to catch the killer.
John Goodman.
John Goodman, yeah, that's it. Dan. Oh, his name was Dan Inrose, I think, wasn't it? So John Goodman, yeah. So there's a strong cast, but strong performance, and I say it's slightly different thing, and I enjoyed it. I remember it was one again like the game. I loved it when I was younger because it was something different, and I just really enjoyed watching it again. And I think the guy that directed it,
Gregory Holbit, he's called.
Hoblet, yeah, he did Primal Fear, I think.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, he did a few good thrillers, and it was like, I wonder what, I haven't seen much of what he did since.
No.
But I really, really enjoyed this. And there's bits in it, like particularly towards the end, where I was like, that's really bizarre, that person's reaction to that. Do you know what I mean? It kind of rushed, the ending's rushed. I think it sets it up well. And it rushes the ending because you go, there would be a lot more fallout to that event.
Yeah, I get that. It's one of those films where I think it must have been very influenced by Seven when it came out.
Yeah, I think so. I think
and it leans hard into that, and it almost spends the beginning of the film going, "Are we going to take you that direction in the spiritual stuff?" And when it does, it almost feels almost ashamed of it a little bit, so it keeps trying to underplay it, which is a shame because it's a really clever idea.
Yeah, and yeah, I liked it, particularly the ending again. The ending isn't predictable and probably isn't what you'd expect.
Yeah, it's a good end.
So that's what I've been watching. So they're the ones. If you've got any comments on any of them, and I know it's an extensive list, but let us know what you think. So I love going back and rewatching films that I used to enjoy. For the most part, I still like the films that I used to like. Sometimes I don't, like Commando, what I watched maybe 6 months ago. I was so disappointed. But the majority of the time, I think, I like similar films. Just like them in a different way, maybe, or appreciate them more. But I know that I like different films. I watch films now and enjoy them that I wouldn't have liked or watched back then.
I think that's always the case, isn't it? When you get some distance from a film, you can still like it, but you appreciate it in a different way. And then films that you never would have given the time of day years ago, you catch up with, and you're like, oh, I don't know why I missed it. I mightn't have liked it at the time if I'd watched it then, but now you appreciate it differently. Yeah,
and I think that nicely leads me on to a point I wanted to make, a question I wanted to ask you, is that it's awards season now. And if you look on Twitter, especially the nominations have come out for the BAFTAs and people talking about Oscar nominations and different things, people getting really, really involved in this. How much value do you place on these awards?
Some, but not much. Not as much as I used to. I mean, it used to be they were a big deal if a film won the Oscar, it was clearly going to be good.
Yeah.
But then some films started to win that weren't as good, I guess, and it starts to make. It's just one of those. Every job or every industry has its own awards thing going on, where you want to congratulate people for good work, but because it's Hollywood, because it's showbiz, it's just amps everything right up, and even its self-importance is amped right up.
Yeah.
And it's usually a sign of some good works, but just because something's one of the best films doesn't mean you're going to enjoy it. Like Shape of Water did not work for me at all.
No. I think it was around that time, maybe a couple of years before, where I started losing interest. Now, I know that film is incredibly subjective. I get that. But I think for me, I don't know. I value my own opinion on a film more than I value Hollywood's opinion on a film.
Well, yeah, of course and that makes sense.
So yeah, I guess because it is that subjective. Or I will look at an IMDb rating or Rotten Tomatoes, probably to a lesser degree, or some other criteria, and they will hold far more value for me than what's been nominated or even won the Oscars for Best Actor or Best Film. Just because it's with them, it's people that watch films that make a decision, not people that are paid to watch films or have an opinion on watch films, or and then I think sometimes it's like, how strange can you be? Recently, like with Shape of Water, I just didn't get it. The Lighthouse that got nominated again, and it's clever filmmaking and it's different aspects of it. I thought, what is this? It's just a bit strange. But then I know that there's other factors that play into it, because it's been highly politicized over the last few years about representation and so on. But then that will have an influence on what is nominated and what wins.
It will. I think the Oscars are often a good films that see, for a lot of people, films you'll go see what's going to entertain you.
Yeah.
Now, that isn't the sort of film that's going to win awards, but there's some good stuff out there that you'd otherwise maybe miss, like Parasite, for example.
Yeah, that's one of the good things that when I go, yeah, I'm glad I wouldn't have watched it otherwise.
Exactly, I mightn't have heard of it otherwise. And in fact, when Parasite was first coming out, I really wanted to go see it. It wasn't on anywhere. Couldn't find it. Not around here. When it won the Oscar, it was everywhere. So suddenly it became available to see. So it does give profile to something that is worth it. It just doesn't always work quite like that, unfortunately.
Yeah. The same with Nomadland. I wouldn't have watched that, I don't think. And that's one of my favourite films in recent times. So I do think there is some value, but I don't get emotionally invested, which a lot of people seem to on film Twitter. Do you know what I mean? There's oh, so-and-so got nominated and so-and-so didn't, and it's the worst thing. And it is subjective. And usually, like with anything subjective, if a lot of people think it, then you give more value to it, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's just so divisive at times.
It does. And people have ideas in their head as to what should be, or this film deserves to be, because it represents a minority group. And is that really the reason you want to say something's good? And so there is this, but also you get the point where, I mean, there was that year where it was Oscars Also White, where, everyone who was nominated appeared to be white. And it's like, was that, I can't imagine that was on purpose, but it's not a good representation of the way the film industry is. So I get why there'd be a backlash to that. Yeah,
and I think it's difficult without a frame of reference as well, because we're looking through one lens. We're looking through the lens of white males.
Well, of course, yeah. And it's hard for us to step outside that.
Yeah, of course. But so taking that aside and the nuance in that, it's just, I don't know, the films that I've watched that have been nominated recent years, it's not just the Oscars, but it's mainly the Oscars because that's the highest profile. Films that have been nominated or the controversy, the vast majority of films that are nominated for Best Picture Oscar, I just don't enjoy.
No, it's when, I mean, it's when you start taking yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
Then I used to love watching the Oscars when I was younger. I'd stay up overnight.
Yeah, I did. And this is what I'm talking about. I was really interested and I knew that it would represent, to some degree, good films.
Mm-hmm. And it seems less so now. I mean, it's certainly less excitement about it. I mean, there was not even a host last time, So it does seem like it's changed a lot. I think, they have their place. It's good to recognize good work. It's good to say to people, well done, especially the less glamorous awards, like, the ones sound and editing and special effects. It's good that these people get recognized for good work because they work hard, and people who work on films work hard. It's good to say well done, but it's nothing more than that.
No, I think the one I'm interested in most, the only one I really care about now is the cinematography one. So I go, which film is going to look amazing? Because although it is subjective, it has to look amazing. It can't just be interpreted to look amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do care about the acting ones and see who wins, but I don't stay up for it. I just see the results on the news next morning.
I do know, yeah. But the other thing is, even with the acting ones, it's good that someone whose careers can be changed by it, and that's a good thing. Someone who does a really good performance, but hasn't had the breaks, but has had this, this one that's really connected with people. Well, they've got job offers coming around the corner now, and it's up to them to do the best of it and to make the most of it. But it's good. It gives opportunities to people. It's good to say well done and to highlight people who maybe haven't made it yet, and but I think it's one of those things. If you forgot who won 6 months later, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But I just find it how it's changed for me, and say how much people like arguing about it on.
No one should ever make a film wanting to win an award for it, I don't think.
Yeah.
You want to make the best film you can, and it's good that when somebody recognizes that, it's when you start making a film going, well, maybe this will get me the Oscar.
Yeah.
Because it changes the way you look at the film then.
So it's like yesterday with the BAFTA nominations, half of them I'd never heard of, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be nominated. I've just not heard of them. I might watch them, say, as we said, like Parasite, and really enjoy them.
Yeah, it can put some films on your radar that might not have been there, which is good. And then sometimes you get a film like, you remember The Artist when that won big? Everyone went crazy over The Artist, that black and white silent film.
Yeah.
And it was like they suddenly became everywhere. And then you watch it a little while later and you go, what was all that excitement about?
Yeah. So we'll see what this award season brings. But yeah, so I think they should just give it to us, really.
Yes.
At least then it would be accurate.
Well, you can get it for most correct opinions.
Yeah. But I mean, what we'll do is we might just do our alternative one before and just do what we think.
Yeah, I think that'd be quite good. We'll go. We could actually go through the nominations as
we'll
they
do that.
come in and pick from the nominated ones.
And we'll have envelopes and stuff.
We could do a who we think will win and who should win.
Yeah, that means we'll have to watch each of the films, right? But if we can get hold of them, we'll do it.
I hadn't thought of that. Oh,
you can't go. I've only seen one of these 4. But
come on, I'm sure some of the people who are voting for them in the Oscars do that.
Yeah, how is it done?
It's
the panel, isn't
it? As far as once you've been nominated for one in the past, you become part of the guild. You know, the Academy, and some journalists are part of it, actors, directors. They're all part of the Academy, and they decide. They get sent the entries, and they either watch them or don't in some cases, and they put their votes in, and it's out with all that.
So it's voted by the whole guild, not just
the whole Academy. Yeah, the whole Academy.
The whole Academy, sorry, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think so, anyway. Which means and there's no way everybody in there has seen every film nominated. So chances are that's probably how some films get overlooked.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. We'll see what happens.
I might be wrong in how that's done, but I think that's how it's done.
Okay, so that's what we think about the Oscars. What do you think about awards? What do you think about them? So the Oscars, the Golden Globes, BAFTAs. What do you think? Do you care about them? Do you pay any attention to them? Do you give them any value? Is there a film that you think definitely should have won an Oscar that didn't? Is there a film that you think that won an Oscar that you think should have been nowhere near it? If you were in charge, there's a few of them for me. And yeah, let us know what you think. And also, I was just thinking, look, upcoming weeks that we've got different things to talk about. So we'll look at the Batman thing. That we can also look at maybe some, like what's their best themes or something. So look at different genres or different actors and directors and see what we think their best film was or their best performance or
the best films of a year.
Yeah, best films of a certain year. Then we can do that. And also, if you want to come on and talk about anything, talk about those things or something new, you just want to be a guest on the show, then come on. We'd love to talk about it. We want to just talk about films. And as much as Luke and I love talking to each other about films, we want to talk to as many people as possible. So if you're listening or watching and you want to come on and talk about what you've seen and what you think of certain films or different topics about film, then get in touch with us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, shout at us, send us a letter, whatever you wish, and we'll get you on.
Brilliant. And we'll look forward to being back with you next time. And I don't know how many films Ian will have seen by the time we get back, but it could be another long list.
Well, we'll see you next time. Have a great week and we'll speak to you soon.